I'm pretty stoked for this John C. Riley, Will Ferrell, Sherlock Holmes movie.
All right, I just saw the first image of it. Right, I think that's all I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So. All right, here we go.
Ready.
Chris Gouser here with
Matt Howell. What? Where was the music?
You don't hear it?
No.
Uh-oh, that's not good. Hold on.
Okay, now I can hear it.
You know, it's a good thing you said something, because it was the audio was the recording device had defaulted to my laptop microphone, so I would have sounded even worse when it was all said and done. I didn't the audio. How did I sound? I must have sounded not as good.
You sounded fine. I guess. Yeah, actually, you sound a little. You were loud, but it sounded. I guess now that I think about it, you sounded like you were in a room, basically.
All right, let's try that again.
All right.
I'm glad you caught that. Let me look at everything again. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, let's try that again. Chris Gouser here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss 8th Grade, the feature film debut of comedian Bo Burnham. He wrote and directed this bad bear, and it's getting some pretty good reviews, so we're going to share our thoughts about it. Matt also checked out Teen Titans Go to the movies. The animated series makes its debut on the silver screen. Then I went and saw Christopher Robin, Disney's updated version of the Winnie the Pooh story with Ewan McGregor as the titular Christopher Robin. Though granted, he's much older now. And then we're also going to do Call It. No, we're not going to do Call It. Damn it, I changed my mind. We're going to do The Lounge because there's so much damn news out there to talk about. But we will do a Call It probably next week. It's just that so much stuff is broken over the last week that we need to talk about. So sorry to leave you astray. But let's start everything off with a clip from 8th grade.
I said one more week of 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, huh?
Can't believe you're going to be in high school.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
You excited?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm so excited.
All right, Matt, so it's a clip from 8th grade, written, directed by Bo Burnham, starring Elsie Fisher and Josh Hamilton. And now, as always, every episode is specifically mastered on Apple Podcasts for a particular listening experience. And this week, of course, in conjunction with 8th grade, is this episode was particularly mastered to listen to while having awkward conversations with your family. So, Matt, why don't you tell everybody at home during having that exact confirmation right now, you've crashed the car, you've done something horrible, you broke your favorite phone, I'm not going to say it. Why don't you tell everybody what 8th grade's all about?
All right. Well, this will be pretty quick because this is is based on the description. This would be a pretty slight movie. So Kayla is on her last few days of 8th grade. She is getting ready to move on to high school, and it's really just about her kind of coming to terms with that, navigating with throughout her social circle. She's not the most popular of people. She's not the most outgoing of girls at school, and her just trying to navigate, the kind of normal pitfalls that everybody that has grown up has been had in 8th grade. Plus, you add in the things like social media and Snapchat and everything else, and what that kind of does as well. So, kind of a universal story about growing up, right?
Exactly. I got to tell you, again, watching this thing, it makes me think, thank God that we didn't have to deal with the internet age growing up. I can't imagine.
That would be a waking nightmare.
This show was humiliation enough for me. I can't begin to think what my life would have been if at 13 I was on like Facebook or something. It terrifies me. But speaking of terrifying, when I was watching this thing, all I could think about is how horrible I feel for you.
For me?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have a kid,
Right.
let alone 2 or 3 of them. I don't even have a dog.
Right.
So, but you are the parent of a lovely young lady, and I'm just watching this thing thinking Matt must be like, my God, this is what I'm in for, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is probably the most horrifying movie I've seen all year, because it was really a 1-2 punch that I got. Because let's face it, guys, for 99% of us, and myself for definitely sure, junior high was the worst. I mean, it was literally the worst stretch of school that I've ever had in my entire life, and I think that's probably true of 90% of the people out there. But then again, like Chris said, you couple that with the fact that in a few short years, I mean, my daughter's turning 7 in a couple weeks. Before you know it, this is going to be her completely ignoring me, not wanting to talk to me. It's already almost there as it is, and it's going to be awful. It's going to be so awful. So yes, this was a horror movie of the summer.
Well, I hope you do as good a job, I think, as Mark does, her father, played by Josh Hamilton. And I think kind of the stealth heart of the film. I think he's quite good in this as the father. But really, the film obviously belongs to Elsie Fisher as Kayla. This thing is just cringe-inducing, right? Almost from start to finish. But not in a bad way.
Right.
It's just that it's so authentic. It's so heartfelt and earnest that you really feel what Elsie's going through. You identify it. There's a few times where I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. And it's just, it's horrifying and touching and heartbreaking, and also reaffirming because she kind of finds her voice. And I have to say, too, that I was never as open and as engaging probably as this young lady was in this film, at least her character. Right. So good for her. I was not that outgoing yet. And when I was in my 7th, 8th grade, whatever it is.
Right.
So what were your overall thoughts of the thing, though? What did you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was it's extremely real, and so far as I can relate to it in the sense of, A, I'm 1,000 years old, and B, it's I didn't grow up in an age where, everything I did was could be recorded and broadcasted for everyone to see, whereas I could hinge my entire self-worth on the fact of whether people like my Instagram or watch my videos or anything like that. And just like,
it's a good thing I don't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, seriously. Obviously, when you're pushing 40 or when you're about our age, you don't really care if nobody's listening, as obvious should be true from the amount of people in this that listen to the show. I
was thinking about that the other day with the show, and I'm thinking, you know what? I wonder if like my nephews and niece will like listen, like, oh, this was Uncle Chris. He did this for like 8, 10, he did this until he was 85.
He did this until the day he died.
And they'll be like, oh, that's great. Or if they'll be like, oh, okay. Well,
all right, cool.
I gotta go do my virtual reality thing now, and you'll go live in the Ready Player One universe now.
Exactly. I hope so.
That's the only thing now. It's like maybe my nephews and niece will find this one day and listen to this stuff and find it amusing. That's really
and just they can learn about what a bunch of pompous A's we are. What about yeah, exactly. Basically. Yeah, but I mean, it's. I think they're just those kind of with these type of films. They're not groundbreaking. They're not. But I think that's the best ones. That's the way they work, is because they're tapping into kind of a universal experience that everyone has had to some extent or another. Whether you're Kayla, whether you're the bad kid who everybody had a crush on, like Josh, or if you were the popular girl who, didn't want to talk to anybody who was below her social standing or whatever. If you were ever that person, whoever you were, you're probably represented somewhere in this film. And it's a really well done coming of age story.
Yeah, I mean, Burnham, he turns every dial at the right point. He pulls every lever at the right point. Every decision was right. He does a fantastic job in this thing. The script is fantastic. It's directed exceptionally well. A24 again. I mean, If
Those
you get
guys,
picked up by A24, yeah, you know you got a good film on your hands. Well, a couple things too that really hit home for me, like, is the car truth or dare scene.
Mm,
I was on the edge of my seat with this thing. Like, I'm like, oh God, no. Oh God, no.
I
Please
know,
don't
I
do this.
know,
Please don't do
I
this.
know.
And in the end, too, it's when she expresses the internalized depression, right? Where she's sorry. Please don't tell Olivia about this, right?
Right,
And then she abandons her passion because of this encounter. I mean, how
right,
many people, young men and young women, kind of derail their lives to a degree because of this BS, this kind of stuff that happens that it's just horrible.
right.
And the fact that she's still able to kind of stand up for herself for the most part, but then is able to get past it with the help of her father. Again, I can't stress enough Josh Hamilton, who is great in this. And I'm not really familiar with him at all. I felt like I'd seen him before,
Yeah,
right? But it's still it's very subtle work that he does here, and it's done, and he does it exceptionally well.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. He's a quintessential that guy. I just couldn't place him anywhere, but he was fantastic. I mean, he had the right sense of kind of, caring deeply while slightly befuddled and, at times hurt, but he never really took it out on her. He just kind of
Yeah.
let it be. And I think that's probably how most parents are, I would think.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah.
I really watching this thing, I'm thinking, this would make a great twin or even triple bill with a Lady Bird and a Princess Sid. Just kind of those just recent slice of life films that we'd seen lately, and it is exceptionally well done.
Right.
I think I'm going to give Eighth Grade an A, just with the sheer just authenticity, the strength of the performances, and the script and direction. It's top shelf entertainment for this kind of stuff, so you can't go wrong. So that's getting an A from me. Where do you come down?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely worth an A. I mean, I think, not to take anything away. I mean, Lady Bird and Princess Sid.
Which you weren't as enamored with as I was, Princess
Yeah,
Sid.
because or Princess Sid or even Lady Bird. To be quite honest with you, I mean, Lady Bird. They don't feel as real as this does, and I think that's really important for this type of film. Whereas Lady Bird is about a precocious young woman who it's obviously feels very much like an indie film. This feels almost like it could be just a documentary, warts and cringiness and all. And I think that makes it just a better film. So I would give it an A as well.
Yeah. Here's the thing that bothers me.
What's that?
About Eighth Grade. If I had any qualms with the film, and it's not even with the film, but it's my issue with the MPAA.
Okay.
This thing's rated R.
Right. Okay. It is. I didn't realize that.
I don't understand it. I know there's a couple F-bombs in it, but there is no reason for something like this to be rated R. It really isn't. And you're robbing a key core audience of getting to see this thing. It's rated R for language and sexual material. Right?
Right.
And then let's spend a second. Even though I haven't seen it, though I may go see it this week. I'm seriously considering seeing it this week. Dinesh D'Souza's Death of a Nation is PG-13.
Right.
Which includes, according to the MPA, strong thematic material including violence and disturbing images, some language, and brief drug use.
Right.
And it's also an hour and a half of outright lies.
Right.
So we're going to have, but again, it's always, the violence is all right. But what? What are you thinking? It just, listen, basically the MPAA is a fraud, and I'm tired of it. I don't know if we need to overhaul this thing. I don't know what we need to do, but there needs to be some drastic changes in the rating and understanding of these films. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So don't let that discourage you from taking your tweens, to young teenagers to go see this film. I mean, yes, like we said, there's a car scene that may be a little bit uncomfortable. There's a scene where she's talking to her crush about what she does and doesn't do with her boyfriends. That's obviously kind of cringeworthy as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kids do. So maybe it's a good opportunity for you to kind of sit there and have a discussion with your kids. It's something they should see.
That's what you should do, man. Yeah, you're gonna pocket this for down the road.
Maybe, unless something else better comes along, we'll see. Maybe it'll be Jonah Hill's mid '90s, which looks like Kids Part 2, if you ask me.
Oof. Let's hope not. Oof. Yeah. All right. 8th grade. If you had a chance to see it, would love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Feedback. Sibilance. Testing. 1, 2. Feedback. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Matt, let's talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. You want to guess what the big release is, Matt? You want to guess? Here's a clip.
Okay.
Clip. And then you have to try and figure out what small little independent film this is.
Okay.
Hear me and rejoice. You are about to die at the hands of the children of Thanos. Be thankful that your meaningless lives are now contributing
I'm
to
sorry,
the balance.
Earth is closed today. You better pack it up and get out of here.
Stonekeeper, does this chattering animal speak for you?
Certainly not. I speak for myself. You're trespassing in this city and on this planet.
It means get lost, Squidward.
He exhausts me. Bring me the stone.
Danny, you want a piece? No, not really, but when do I ever get what I want? That's right. Been a while. Good to have you, buddy. I need to concentrate here for a second. Come on, Max. Where's your gun? I don't know. We should have been having a thing. There's no time for a thing. That's the thing right there. Let's go. Dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards. I'm sorry. I can't, or he won't.
All right, so that's a clip from Avengers Infinity War being released on Blu-ray and 4K this upcoming Tuesday, August 14th. In fact, all the Avengers films, Matt, are being released in 4K.
Oh, very nice.
If you buy it from Best Buy, you get a special limited edition steelbook. Target has a 40-page book that comes with it. And you can also buy the 40-page book version with a Funko red Iron Man thing. It includes some making of featurettes, some deleted and extended scenes, 10 minutes worth, and a 2-minute gag reel, but also features commentary by Anthony and Joe Russo, the directors of the film. So that's the big release. In fact, that's like, Matt, the only big release. Everything else is catalog stuff, I guess, because what's the point, right? Infinity War is going to just destroy the Blu-ray DVD box office this week.
Man, I'm glad you said something, because I was going to guess that was Justice League, the Snyder Cut that everybody's been clamoring for. Wah, wah. Can't resist.
So Criterion is releasing The Ballad of Giorgio Cortez. Forced to run from the Texas Rangers after a heated misunderstanding leads to the death of a lawman, Mexican-American farmer Gregorio Cortez sets off on a desperate flight, evading a massive manhunt on horseback for days. Producer star Edward James Olmos seeking to shed new light on a historical incident that has been enshrined in a corrido, a folk song, enlisted director Robert Young, a longtime practitioner of social engaged realism, to helm this trailblazing independent film, a landmark of Chicano cinema. Includes a new 2K digital restoration, a new interview with Mr. Olmos, new interviews as well, some of the individuals associated with the film, a cast and crew panel, an essay by film scholar Charles Ramirez Berg, and other fun stuff. Scream Factory is giving us Return of the Living Dead Part 2. They gave us, I think, the original Return of the Living Dead last year. Here's the sequel. It's a brand new 2K remaster, struck from the inner positive. New commentary with actress Susan Snyder. New audio commentary with Gary Smart, who's co-author of The Complete History of the Return of the Living Dead, and filmmaker Christopher Griffith. And a whole bunch of other new featurettes, as well as some old archival features as well. The Brian De Palma war film, Casualties of War, starring Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn, is finally getting its Blu-ray release. Scream Factory is giving us The Unborn, the horror film starring Brooke Adams. She suspects that a mysterious doctor has inseminated her with a mutated sperm in an attempt to create a superhuman fetus. Unfortunately, there are some extreme side effects. Includes a brand new 2K remaster of the film and a brand new audio commentary with the producer/director and filmmaker. Steve Martin film The Lonely Guy is getting its Blu-ray release. The Inkwell, starring Lorenz Tate and Jada Pinkett Smith, as well as Joe Morton, is being released on Blu-ray for the first time. Hope Springs with Colin Firth, Heather Graham, and Minnie Driver. And then Born Yesterday with Melanie Griffith, John Goodman, and Don Johnson. I believe the film the two of them met on.
Oh.
So there you go. Your straight to DVD pick of the week is the Retro Puppet Master from 1999, getting released on Blu-ray finally. Matt, I want you to guess for me.
Okay.
How many Puppet Master movies have there been?
I'm going to say 6.
Coming out this month
Okay.
is the 11th film.
Wow.
And the 11th film, The Littlest Reich, I may have to actually see because Tom Lennon stars in it.
No way. Lieutenant Dangle stars in it?
Yes.
Wow.
So there's something I don't know. I think that's enough for me to want to watch it. But Retro Puppet Masters from 1999 is getting its release. Why I thought it was interesting because it stars Greg Sestero of The Room fame. So the legacy begins. Andre Toulon's days before he became the puppet master was spent running an avant-garde puppet theater in pre-World War I Paris and loving Ilsa, the beautiful daughter of the Swiss ambassador. When he witnesses the heinous murder of Avzel, an Egyptian sorcerer who has stolen the secret of life from an ancient god, Sutketh, he is forced into a life and death struggle with the servants of Sutek, what I said, who have kidnapped Ilsa. And it goes on from there. So one of the old Puppet Master movies getting released on Blu-ray.
That is fantastic.
What should we be streaming this week?
All right. So,
Oh, wait. There's one more thing.
Okay.
This is very important. Released on 4K. There is like a huge push for this thing, right? There was a White House petition. I think there was a GoFundMe on this, and it's finally happened. Released on 4K. Van Wilder.
Oh, really? Are you kidding me? Now, here's
the rest of it, yes. But they are, for some reason, releasing Van Wilder on 4K.
You know, I've never actually seen Van Wilder.
I did because of my affection for Monsieur Renault.
Well, it's still his Twitter handle. He is very affectionate about Van Wilder.
Yes, he is.
All right. So I was thinking, looking back, so based off of trying to stick to a theme here. So I was like, all right, we watched 8th Grade. So I was like, well, should I recommend Lady Bird? That's available on Amazon. And, that would be a good pick. Or maybe we go with some kind of ribald coming-of-age comedy with Superbad, also available on Amazon. But no. Really, I had to go with something that was really about a father's love for his child and the lengths that he will go to.
Uh-oh.
And I'm, of course, talking about Over the Top, the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling film from the 80s, available on Amazon Prime. Absolutely 100% ridiculous. I don't know why this film exists, but it is Chef Kiss, one of the most 80s things you'll ever see in your life.
And it has Meet Me Halfway, the Kenny Loggins song, I believe, is from Over the Top as well, which I absolutely. I recently made a mix with, what did I call it? Kenny and Brian, Heaven, because they both have songs with Heaven in the title. Yeah, so it's like a mix of my favorite Kenny Loggins and Brian Adams songs.
Oh, okay, very good.
The two of them seem to go together well for me. I don't know why it is.
Yeah, because they're both milquetoast 80s white guys. I mean, is that really why?
Yeah, but if it was just that, the mix would have been a lot longer with a lot of other artists. So I don't know.
What was the guy? Oh, God. Who was that guy? He had a mullet. Saying wherever you go, I'll be right there waiting for you. Who sang that? Come on, Chris.
Oh, Richard Marx.
Richard Marx, yes. Richard Marx would have to be on that.
You know what? I may have to. You know what? That's a great idea. That's a great addition. But I don't want the mix to get too big.
Well, here's the thing. So how about this, Chris? For our listeners, why don't you, as just a side thing for fun, why don't you make a milquetoast white guys mix of the 80s for us and post the track listing on thefirstrun.com? Because I would absolutely adore to kind of make a list to hear that. I would like to hear that list. Put that together on Spotify.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a Spotify page. If you look for me, you can find it. Just look for Chris Scalzo. And maybe I can post a link to it on the Facebook, Twitter pages, and on the website. So you can follow it. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all.
All right. Well, I am full of good ideas, and that is a very, very good one, my friend.
Yeah, so it's Loggins and Adams Heaven. So it's Footloose. This is all Kenny Loggins. Footloose, Forever, Danger Zone, Meet Me Halfway, Danny's Song, Whenever I Call You Friend, This Is It, I'm All Right, and then I'm Free, Heaven Helps the Man.
There you go.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Double or Nothing from Rocky IV.
Oh, okay.
Brian Adams, I got Run to You, Heaven, Somebody, Summer 69, It's Only Love, featuring Tina Turner. Straight from the Heart, Do I Have to Say the Words, Can't Stop This Thing We Started, and Everything I Do It For You. But we'll have to look into adding a little Richard Marx. That's not a bad idea.
That is a rager. That is a rager playlist. How dare I? Yes.
All right, let's play a clip from the movie you saw that I didn't, and of course that's going to be the Teen Titans and the Goes and such here.
Coming this summer.
They're finally going to make a movie about me!
The story of Batman's greatest ally.
That's me! That must be me!
And best friend in the whole world.
Finally!
Alfred, the movie.
It's time to clean up this city.
That actually does look pretty good.
I'll see it.
Just a young gun with a quick fuse.
They're really making movies about every superhero.
Has there been a movie about you?
There was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about that.
It's time they make one about me.
I'm afraid it's no. I only make movies about real superheroes.
Why don't they take us seriously?
Titans, you guys are never actually doing anything heroic.
What about that time we discovered that sweet diner and they had that food?
That wasn't even a crime, and you didn't save anything.
We saved room for design!
All right, so there you go. Matt, why don't you tell the folks at home who voices Superman in that Teen Titans Go movie?
Sure. So in that clip, the one that's saying the Titans never do anything heroic is Nick Cage, which, if you are a true cinephile, everyone knows Superman is Nick Cage's favorite character. And there's once, as insane as this sounds, Nick Cage was attached to a Superman film, which I think was set to be directed by Tim Burton.
I believe so, yes.
Yes. So a Tim Burton Superman film starring Nick Cage.
It was written by Kevin Smith, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really? So can you imagine? I wish I kind of lived in the parallel Earth where that exists. But you can go out and look at him in his Superman suit. There were some screen test suits. So
you know what? There's a documentary on that film. We should watch it. Yeah.
All right, I'll check it out.
So, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I have not seen the show at all. Okay. Though I got to admit, when I watched the trailer, I was a little intrigued because everybody's in it.
Yeah, everybody is in it.
So, what was it about? How was it? Share.
All right. So, Teen Titans Go. First, let me just start off like this. So, there was a Teen Titans show. It was very popular. It was more of a serious, cartoon, kind of action cartoon. There was some humor in it, but not a lot. It went away, ended suddenly, and they produced Teen Titans Go. And this is a very kid-oriented show. It's full of slapstick. It's not serious at all. It's full of jokes. And the fandom went absolutely nuts. There is a very vocal group of neckbeards who absolutely hate this show. So be that as it may, it's extremely popular. And what this film is about is the Teen Titans, in this particularly ridiculous version, who cannot be serious at all, are upset because there are no films being made of them when there's literally a film by everyone. And it's their quest to try and get a film, and their way that they're going to do it is I think that they have to get a supervillain, who in this case is Deathstroke, aka Slade. So that's basically what it's about. Now, I enjoy the Teen Titans Go program a lot. I think it's actually pretty funny and cute. And it's got a lot of really deep cuts to the DC universe. Now, I'm not a huge DC universe guy, but I know enough. But there's a lot of stuff in there I think even Chris would even really enjoy in the show as well. Like, and some dark stuff too. So like in Robin's room, on the shelf, there is a crowbar that is propped up on the yes, there's a crowbar. This is the Dick Grayson Robin, but there's a crowbar propped up on the shelf of his stuff. But yeah, this is a fun kids movie. It's really funny. I think adults can enjoy it. And if you're a comic book fan, that, like I said, there is just some really deep cuts. It may hurt Chris a little bit, as you heard in the skit, there was or in the clip that we played, there was a little joke to the Green Lantern movie and how bad that was. There is an absolutely, I hesitate to, I don't know if Chris is ever going to see this, but there's an absolutely delightful gag at the expense of the whole Martha scene in Batman versus Superman. It is fantastic. I'm surprised Team WB let them put that in there. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You've got Will Arnett playing Deathstroke, so he's a lot of fun. You should definitely check it out. I don't want to kind of go into a lot of it just because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's a good time. I enjoyed it.
So what's your grade for it?
I would give it a solid D.
Yeah. Well, you know, we got some big stuff coming up. I'm trying to figure out what to do, but maybe I'll try and sneak it in with the other film I'm going to see this week. I'm not sure yet, but we'll talk about that at the end of the show. What's coming up next week? And yeah, I don't want to get into too much of it. All right, so B for the Teen Titans Go to the Movies. All right, may have to check that out then. I mean, I'd probably enjoy it more than watching The Death of America.
That's very true. Well, I mean, you definitely, maybe you go watch Death of America, then you go watch this to cleanse your palates, because then you can watch they go back in time to try and save, to do something with Krypton, and it shows a Marlon Brando version trying to save it. He can't do it. He turns around and he goes, "Well, honey, I'm sorry. We're pretty much all dead." And that's it. Just the way they deliver it is freaking hilarious. Or again, sorry, one last joke. They go back in time. They show Batman leaving the theater with his family. And he goes, and Batman, young Bruce Wayne goes, "Golly, Dad, thanks for taking me to the movies in this extremely dangerous neighborhood." And that's like, get ready to go into the.
But there's a lot going to share my thoughts on another film, Matt. So let's hear a clip about that one.
Information is all.
That's the wrong one, Matt. Damn it, now I have to edit. All right, well, let's hear the clip from the film that I saw that Matt did not get an opportunity to see.
Oh. What to do, what to do, what to do. What to do indeed. Who? Christopher Robin.
No. No. You can't be here. This can't be happening.
Stress. It's not stress.
God, I'm stressed.
It's Pooh.
I'm so exhausted. Evelyn warned me.
I like to be warmed. Warmed and cozy.
I've cracked.
I've totally cracked. I don't see any cracks. A few wrinkles, maybe.
So that's a clip from Christopher Robin, directed by Mark Forster. This is a Disney, one of those new things, right, where they're kind of doing their animated stuff and making live action versions of them, Matt. So the film opens with Christopher Robin as a young boy, but the characters of the 100 Acre Wood are saying goodbye to him because he's now going to grow up. He's going to go to boarding school, and he's leaving that whole kind of imagination land behind. So we fast forward 20 plus years or so, and Christopher Robin is now a manager of an efficiency team at a luggage company, and he's got to make some dire cuts or some people are going to be fired, and he's struggling, and he's always away at work, and he's neglecting his wife, played by the, of course, lovely Haley Atwell, and his daughter. And as he is stressing out about what to do, his family's gone on vacation, he's had to stay behind for work, he runs into Pooh, because Pooh has lost his friends, Matt. They're all gone. They've gone missing. Christopher Robin then helps him get back to the 100 Acre Wood, and then he slowly starts to remember who he was and re-embrace his childhood and then reunite with his family and all that fun, awesome stuff. So the film itself, it has some, I think, moments of whimsy and laughs, but there's this brush or just kind of maybe not a brush, but this overwhelming kind of sadness that the film never really truly overcomes for me. Even when, because it's all dark and kind of gloomy, right? And then once he kind of finds himself again, the 100-acre wood and everything, kind of the sun comes out and all that stuff. But still, I don't know if it's just a matter of them trying to have that adult appeal as well. And then it also tries to make a statement about the corporate structure and our dedication to work as adults. But it's just odd in a way how it is. It's also at times very easy and unassuming and kind of breezy and not much to it. But still, the heaviness at times, it just never really seemed to get out from under for me. I enjoyed it enough, and the animation this is spot on. I mean, it's fantastic. It's incredibly well done with the with Pooh and Eeyore and Tigger and Piglet and all that. And Pooh is just a kind of your what's the word? What's the movie I'm looking for? Let me look at it right now. I know I have it outside. Damn it. But he's just a kind of fountain of simple philosophy, right? So he always, because he's a bear of little brain, but he always says the right thing. So it's good. It hits all the Disney markers. It's got the family and it's got the challenge. It's got all the stuff, and it's well done. It's just, it's an odd little movie. It just didn't feel fully like a Disney film. It didn't have the magic and wonder that I think maybe I was anticipating it to have. So overall, I think I'm still going to give it a B-, just because the animation alone is just fantastic. I was really blown away by how well the effects were, and it's good enough and funny enough and sweet enough. It eventually gets the job done. So that's my thoughts, and that's your grade for the Christopher Robin. The big old B-.
The big old B-. Yeah, it seems like it's kind of a bummer, man. I don't know. I was actually kind of stoked to see this, but then I was kind of like, wait a minute, I've heard that's a bit of a bummer, and that's not something I want to deal with,
Yeah,
bummers in my life.
No, I hear you. So, all right. So let's move on then. Let's hit into the big final segment of the show, everybody's favorite segment. It's going to be the lounge. We got a lot of stuff going on in the movies and the newses and the such. And as always, since we have something to talk about with James Bond, you get a James Bond clip. Deal with it.
Information is all. Is it not? For example, you must know by now that the 00 program is officially dead. Which leads me to speculate exactly why you came. So, James, why did you come?
I came here to kill you.
And I thought you came here to die.
Well, it's all a matter of perspective.
Still, I don't get it. You did not have to make him his foster brother. They did not have to have any relation whatsoever. It was just a foolish reason, a misguided idea to raise the stakes in the franchise that you didn't have to do. You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to do it.
I'm sorry, Chris. I've never seen it, actually. I've never seen Spectre because you're ranting about it so much.
It's okay. It's all right. It's just that it's got some really interesting ideas that it kind of squanders. But that one thing alone, I remember when the trailer first appeared, I'm like, don't do it. Don't you do it. And eventually, I think I even threatened to walk out if that's what happened.
Yeah, right.
But there was no way that would happen.
Yeah. There's no way you would walk out, that's for sure. Have you ever walked out of a movie? Ever?
No.
Yeah.
No, I feel like it's not just because of the show. I feel like I don't know what it is. I guess maybe it is partly because of the show. Because the worst, like, if I was going to walk out of any movie, it probably would have been The Snowman of recent vintage. I think I would have walked out on that. But
yeah. I love how much you hate that movie because that was a really bad movie.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So I don't know if this is real. I really don't. I hope it is, but I feel like it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
But supposedly Eon Productions is actually considering hiring Idris Elba to play James Bond.
Okay.
So I think the problem is he's too old, isn't he? He's what, 52? Now, I know that Roger Moore, I don't think was 40. I think he was 47 by the time. No, actually, I'm sorry. Elba's 45. Forgive me. So I think Roger Moore was right on the same age when he took the job, which is an interesting little note, Matt. Did you know that Roger Moore, Sean Connery, when he retired from the role officially after Diamonds Are Forever, which is not a good movie.
Yeah.
Roger Moore was actually older than he was when he took over than Sean Connery was at the time.
Oh, really?
So the age thing, I guess, is the problem is, though, the difference is when the Roger Moore movies at 40, whatever he was, 2, 3, 7, I don't remember. It's probably 42. They made one every year.
Right.
Now they make one every 3 to 4 years. So I don't know how real this is. Part of me thinks it may be just Eon entertaining it because there are people calling for it.
Right.
And they want to look like they're doing the right thing by considering it.
Right.
But I would think you'd want to rope in somebody who's maybe 30, 32.
Right.
And then sign them to like a 5-picture deal.
Okay.
I think that would be the way to go. Now, it's at a 30-year, if we're generous and say a 3-year clip, that's a 15-year commitment. And I just don't, I don't know. Maybe they just bring in Elba and do 2.
Right.
Could be.
Maybe.
I just don't know if that's really, I don't know. I would love to see it. I think it would be an interesting dynamic and a lot of fun. I just don't know how legit it is. I don't know. I'm being too conspiratorial, I think. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see there's any reason. I guess it really depends on, I think you're right. I think if I don't see Idris Elba, doesn't strike me as the type where he's going to want to like carry a franchise for like, you know, many years. I'm sure he could talk to his boy Daniel Craig and be like, and Craig would probably like, no, it's the worst. So maybe 2 and then get out, you know? And I think if Eon was okay with that, I think that they could do that, but no more than 2. I think he's going to do, if he does it, it's going to be a short-term deal.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Did you come up with any? Because I have a long list. I can just run with it.
All right. So I did. I know you do have a long list, but this one wasn't mentioned. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts. So, this new category of the Oscars, right?
Yep.
So the Oscars are, the telecast is essentially in trouble, right? The ratings have been declining. They've been abysmal. This last show was just not good at all. Now I don't see them stop giving out the Oscars, but is it, you know, obviously this is a televised thing. I mean, is it going to go the route of like, you know, the Pulitzers, the Nobels, where it's not really televised? We just kind of get the announcement after the effect. So I think one of the things that they're trying to do
is would go to cable first, right? You'd probably watch the Oscars on TBS.
Would you really watch the Oscars on TBS? HBO? Would any of the stars actually even show up to the Oscars on the TBS?
I would think. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. Well, where are the Golden Globes on? Are they on like ABC? Are they on major network, or are they? They are
on a big network. Yes, they are. But I think the only reason people show up to the Golden Globes is because they get to get drunk during the ceremony. I mean, that's true. What it is. It's a big part.
So anyway, get to your question.
Well, my question is do you think that this thing is this whole new popular film category is a good idea, and B, is it actually going to actually do anything to kind of boost interest in the Oscars?
I think it may boost interest in the Oscars. Is it a good idea? No.
Okay.
The problem is the problem is not that we're not tracking the big budget films and giving them awards. That's not the issue. It's the issue is that the Academy is too snobbish, so that it doesn't give films like The Dark Knight a chance at a Best Picture nomination, even though it would have deserved it. All right. What you do is you need to respect the films that are made and then give them due deference and recognition if they deserve it.
Yeah.
The award for being the most popular film is you get all the money.
Right.
You want one correction that'll make the Oscars better? You start doing more technical stuff, specifically, there is no stunt work category, which I do not understand.
Right.
If there's any category that should be added to the Oscars, it's stunt work. So, I don't think the most popular film award thing, whatever they're calling it, I don't know. I'm not on board. You know what it is? Just take off the monocle and the top hat and then actually appreciate a film that may be a crowd pleaser that's actually really well done as well.
Yeah, that would be the answer in a perfect world. But since this thing has been around for however many decades it's been around, that rarely ever happens. So my question
it's basically Matt. It's going to be the MCU award at the Oscars. Is what it's going to be.
You think
what
so?
Marvel film is going, or it's either going to be what Marvel or Star Wars film is going to win this year?
Do we know what the category is though? I mean, do we know what the criteria of the category is?
Let's see what we can come up with. But that's all it is. It's just recognizing what the popular movies are, right?
Right.
Popular film category. I don't know what the criterion is.
But I guess I mean you're right. I mean the criteria of the category is really up in the air. God only knows what it could possibly be. I mean, if it's based on straight ticket sales, I guess that's the only way I can figure it out.
Is it like a Rotten Tomatoes score film or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I have no idea. Yeah,
it has to be released between March 1st and like July 31st, and have a Rotten Tomatoes score of 95 or above, and then from there you winnow out. What do you do?
It has to have a cinema score of
a cinema. Thank you. That would be even better. A cinema score. Yes.
Yes. I don't know, but I guess this is my argument though. They've got the up to 10 Oscars, and that's supposed to take care of, the fact that we have these films that, are deserving, but they normally wouldn't have gotten a nod. I mean, and I think this is really in response to The Dark Knight and to WALL-E, neither one of them being nominated when they damn well should have been. But here's the thing, damn well, none of those films that are ever nominated, even if they're nominated for Best Picture, are never going to win. So is it better to be a lame duck in a category and just kind of get here's your participation trophy, or is it better to actually win an Oscar, even if it's a lame Oscar category?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. So it's going to be called Outstanding Achievement in Popular Film. And the eligibility this is from the Board of Governors of the Academy Awards. Eligibility, I'll get there. Requirements and other key details will be forthcoming. So
it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like suddenly you kind of create this. Then what does Best Picture become? The best arty picture, the best picture your grandma likes, kind of thing. Like I don't even know what it becomes. I don't know. It's a good question.
It'll be like which of the 4 films A24 releases here will win Best Picture?
And it's not to say that A24 films, they obviously don't necessarily deserve to win. I mean, they certainly do. It's just that when something like Get Out gets nominated, it's not going to win. Just by the simple fact that it's a horror film and no horror film has ever won. I think it's only like the second that's been nominated, or maybe third.
Didn't have pretty good odds of winning Get Out, like when they were doing the Vegas odds. I thought it was actually, they thought maybe because what was it? The 2 other films would kind of split the vote, and then Get Out would kind of squeeze in and end up winning.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, I can tell you as a layperson who knows absolutely nothing, my gut said that there was no way Get Out was going to win.
Yeah.
Just because of what it was. So again, is it better that, Get Out win? Or, an Arrival or an Annihilation or whatever, or an Ex Machina, if those kinds of films. Would it make you feel better if it was Outstanding Achievement in Genre Film? Would that make you feel better if it was like that?
That's interesting. Maybe it would.
Because then it's not about popularity. I mean, you could still have a small film that was in a kind of genre like, Ex Machina. We'll use that again. That was not a huge film, but I mean, you could throw that in there and it could possibly win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because then Drive. Well, I'm not allowed to mention that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't bring that movie up. But yeah.
The movie that shall not be named. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We can revisit when they release Criteria, whatever the hell. We'll talk about it then again. All right.
Okay.
So talking about Elba Bond, and I can't begin to imagine the backlash by, as you so affectionately put it, the neckbeards, with the casting of a Black James Bond. So they cast You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say something. I don't think people are going to care as much. What people would really care about And I would just love for them to do it just to make me happy because I'm a jerk. Is the Brits would go insane if they cast somebody who was not British, or at least from the British Isles, to play James Bond. Like if they had an American or like a German putting on a French accent or putting on a British accent, they would lose their minds. To them, James Bond and Doctor Who cannot be played by anybody who's not from the British Isles. Yet they think it's perfectly okay, Brits, to have freaking Superman played by a British guy. Like that's okay. That's okay. No, it's not. Spider-Man should not be played by a British guy, even though I love Tom Holland and he's good at it. But still.
What about that? What about Henry as James Bond?
Oh yeah. And then
he's got the physicality down. And it kills me to say this, but after seeing him in Mission Impossible Fallout, I could see him doing that role.
Oh yeah.
The Superman thing wouldn't make me think that. But
no, that's very true. Yes, he actually would be pretty sweet as James Bond, as long as we could get him his version of James Bond. Every time he had to get into a fight, he gets to cock his arms, he gets to cock his fists.
The reloading of the arms is just one of those pure moments of just sublime bliss of that cinema has given us, I think, in years.
There you go.
Watch that over and over again. All right. So I was about to say the CW is creating another DC show, and this time they're going to do a Batwoman show, and she's supposedly going to make her appearance in this year's upcoming crossover, which will not include the Legends of Tomorrow this time.
Oh, okay.
It'll be Supergirl and Flash, Arrow, and then they're going to introduce Batwoman, played by Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose of John Wick 2. She's in the new film The Meg. She's been in some other stuff. Ruby Rose is a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the keys, I think, of her being cast is the fact that Batwoman is a lesbian in the relaunched version of the character.
Right.
Which was about 3-4 years ago now that they did that? I don't even know.
It came? No, I think it's been a while. It's been longer than 4 years for sure.
All right. So there was a whole uproar about it because I don't know why. Is it the physicality? Because she's a slight woman? I don't know what the issue was, but it was bad enough that they drove Ruby Rose off of Twitter.
Okay.
Again, there was some so we're going to create I don't know, or was it part of the because there's this one guy, this comic book reviewer guys on YouTube, this total jackhole, and he's complaining about, the lack of straight white male representation in superhero films, and then whatever they do, basically specifically, because I want to be fair about this. Specifically, he says whenever they relaunch a character, it's always a minority or of a different sexual persuasion.
Okay.
So I don't know what to say about this. Like, I'm not sure if I have a comment or a question. I don't know if I have a question about it. I'm just tired of it.
Right.
Let the property, let the what is it? Just let it come out. Let's see it. Let's see if it's any good. You know what? And think of the uproar if they had cast a straight woman in the role too. Then I think that would have been more of an issue. The whole Scarlett Johansson thing, right? Where she's playing the trans person.
Sure.
So I don't know. Is this going to stop, or are we just in this never-ending cycle of just internet trolls just pushing these people offline and just being general just jackals? Are we ever going to get past this?
No, because here's the thing. Fandom, especially in the fandom that we love, whether it's Star Wars or it's comic books or whatever, they are a very passionate fan base, and they have always, and you know what? I'll scratch that. Because I'm going to include the two of us, we have always been like this. And the problem is we've never had an outlet. I mean, all they had to do before was pre-internet. They could write a letter to Starlog or whatever, and the editor would throw it out, right? Nobody cared. And then it would never get a voice. And all they could do is complain down at their local comic book shop until the guy who owned it kicked them out, kind of thing. And then, of course, it became chat rooms, but they were all kind of an echo chamber of themselves. But now, with Twitter, with Instagram, you can actually interact with these celebrities, and you can let them know, for better or for worse, what you actually think of them. And you know, that's tough. Like, I mean, I get it. But I don't think we're ever going to get away from that. That's human nature. I mean, people treat this stuff like it's sacred when it's really not. And to be fair, I'll say to be fair, you know, there's a lot of good things. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have things like Deadpool if the nerds didn't have a voice. I mean, like that's those kinds of things that it can be a force for good. It's just that, you know, I guess I don't know what they were saying. I did look at this a little bit to try because I had not heard about this. It's not that she's a lesbian actress, because obviously the character is lesbian. Not even her physicality. Basically what they were getting on her for is that apparently she's not a very good actress.
Right.
Just period. Yes. So I guess if that's true, fair. But I mean, you don't necessarily need to attack the woman before she's actually produced anything that you can watch. But I guess that's what the issue is. That's what it's really stemming from. It's not her gender or sexual choice or her physicality or whatever you want to put it, or the fact that she's absolutely covered in tattoos. It's that she is just not a good actress. And I think, you know, to be fair, it's hard to judge from John Wick because she doesn't speak in John Wick. I haven't seen The Orange Is the New Black. I haven't seen The Meg. I haven't seen her. She was also in one of the Pitch Perfect films, which I've also not seen. So I don't know. I can't really say much about her work.
She was in Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, which I did see. I do remember that now. She was in. Oh, I didn't see Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage. I can't believe that fell off of my radar.
Yeah.
So what? Supposedly she's in John Wick 3.
I guess she didn't die.
Maybe it's a flashback.
Maybe he didn't see her die. Maybe she got better.
All right. Maybe she... So yeah. All right. We'll have to see about that. I don't know. I have hopes. I think it'd be a fun little story, and it's good to get some more Batman-y stuff into that TV universe. So
yeah, but it's so weird. That's so weird to me. Is just because
when
they keep doing all this Batman adjacent stuff, but you can't ever talk about Batman kind of thing. I mean, for God's sake, Supergirl has a terrible Superman, but he's there. You know, I mean, so I mean, I don't get it. You know, like why is Batman's like the golden goose? He's like the Christ that shall not be named, kind of thing. You know.
Yeah, it is weird. All right, Matt, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth have supposedly walked away from Star Trek 4 over contract disputes, i.e. money. Will they move forward with those films now? What do you think? Should you call it or just give them what they want?
Is this the Tarantino version? Is this the Tarantino film that they're walking away from?
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the Tarantino. I think those things may be on different tracks. I don't quite understand it.
All right, we need to. That's a very important part of this question.
So let's see. They're threatening to walk out. May not be in Star Trek 4. I just don't. I thought there were two different things.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're two different things.
Okay, so they're still going to come. Or at least Chris Pine is going to be along the ride for Tarantino's.
We don't know what Tarantino's is going to be.
Well, from what I understand, I know Simon Pegg has said that. I think he said he's in it, or like I guess he made it sound like Pegg is in it. I've heard.
I haven't heard anything confirming that the Tarantino Star Trek is going to feature the same cast.
All right, let me just see here.
For sure.
Well, yeah, okay.
The fourth one is supposed to be about Pine and teaming up with his dad through some weird time travel stuff.
Okay. Star Trek 4, set to be directed by S.J. Clarkson. Revolve around Kirk and Dad Kirk. Script is by J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. Okay. All right, so yeah.
Because here's the big problem too, right? Is that the films are not box office burners.
They're not.
No. And it's too bad. And they basically want to both be paid what they had signed on to be paid.
Okay.
For the series, but unfortunately, the only way the thing is gonna be made is if they cut the budget. So, like the last one cost $185 million to make, right? Star Trek Beyond. The domestic gross was $159.
Okay.
And now you throw in the foreign and you get the 343.5 roughly. You throw in Blu-ray digital sales, maybe you get to 375, 400, maybe. But and it's been slowly going down, I think, with each film.
Right.
So, though I think I think what the Into Darkness did a little bit better in the first one.
Okay.
But if they're going to make it the fourth film, I would be shocked if the budget was 150.
Right.
I'm thinking you're looking at 125.
Right.
And then I don't think you're going to be able to pay Pine and Hemsworth what they want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Pine's a big deal. He's a pretty big deal. I mean, I'm sure he's got some Wonder Woman money coming to him, so he's not so concerned about that. And Chris Hemsworth is, I mean, that guy makes a ton of money. I mean, there's like very little. This is not like unknown Chris Hemsworth like it was in the first one with the cameo. This is Thor, for God's sake, who's in the biggest franchises in the world. I don't know, but here's the thing. Like, I can see it not being a problem for Hemsworth, but if Pine walks away, and I think the cast, I was just looking up, Peg and Quinto assume that it's going to be them, but nothing is set in stone. If he walks away, does he not get to be in the Tarantino version? Because now they've had to rehire Kirk. Like,
do you do it? Well, that's what I'm wondering. Do you move forward, or you just say to hell with it? And
the hell with
don't even
shut down Star Trek 4.
I got to tell you, I don't know who else. I think Pine's done a great job as Kirk, and I can't think about anybody else I'd get as juiced up over it. Right. I don't know who else. I mean, maybe you could pull somebody, and I'd be like, "Oh, that'd be great." But also, I think that he has great chemistry with that cast. I think they all work really well together. And you're not going to have Anton Yelchin as to start with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think maybe you do a rewrite. And maybe you just don't use Hemsworth and you bring back Pine. I think that would be the priority. If I had to make a choice, that's a choice I'd make for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, in a perfect world, I would say let's just scrap Star Trek 4 and let's just see what Tarantino produces, because I want to see it so bad. And let's let everybody else do that then, because I think everybody's going to be on board for that kind of thing. But if I can't have that, then I really have to have Star Trek 4. Then I scrap the whole time travel thing, which sounds stupid in and of itself, and just have get rid of Hemsworth, because he's probably bringing the whole thing down. Give Christ Pine the extra money that he wants, and just get this thing made in whatever form it has to be.
Yeah, all right. I guess I found another article that says supposedly Tarantino is using the same cast for his film.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd be surprised. I don't know. Part of me thinks the Tarantino thing's never going to happen.
I hope it is. I hope it is so badly. That would make me so happy on so many levels.
You got anything else for me?
Let's see here. So I've read some things where Sony is restructuring a lot of its Marvel properties and when they're going to be coming out and stuff like that. And kind of pushing some of it back and all that kind of stuff. So do you think they're setting up to try and sell off their movie division and maybe trying to get Disney and Disney, the conglomerate that is Disney, to buy it?
I saw that. I just saw a headline that says Sony owns 400 Marvel characters. And which I'm assuming are mostly just Spider-Man universe and Spider-Man adjacent.
Right, I'm sure, yeah.
So I probably. I mean, listen, I always think about it. When I think about, is this stuff going to happen and how pricey can it get? I think about the Star Wars deal.
Right.
I think about how much they paid for that franchise. And I'm thinking, man, that's an insane amount of money. And they basically made it back in a film.
They basically made it back in a film, and they are literally building a place in Florida. They're basically building a size of a cantina in Florida that is going to break in money for the next 30 years for them, hand over fist.
I cannot tell. I already told my wife, once that place is built, we're going to stay a night or two over at Disney with that.
You better get in line, man. You better start looking for those pre-orders, because that shit is going to be, crazy hard to get into.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it terrifies me because of the James Gunn stuff.
Right.
But I would assume so. I would assume. One thing I'm really surprised about is that Disney just hasn't, and am I wrong about this? this hasn't straight out bought Marvel. Marvel's still independent, right? It's still its own company.
They
Warner Brothers owns DC. So that's why
Right.
they have the entire stable to work with. And I know that Marvel had farmed out the licensing rights to all the stuff, which is it's crazy because that's why you can you can go to Universal Studios and see Spider-Man and all that stuff, right? But it's not going to be at Disney, even though they own a lot of the Marvel, like the Avengers stuff. It's all at Universal Studios. They
Right.
don't have it at Disney because that's where the rights went. But Marvel's still on its own, right?
No, they own the entirety of Marvel Entertainment.
Okay, so they just
acquired it for $4 billion.
all right. So the issue is the just the licensing deals that have been pre-agreed to.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Well, here's the thing. So I think, I mean, you would think that it's ridiculous, but at the same time, Sony Pictures had almost $1 billion loss last year, $719 million. The CEO that liked the Motion Picture stuff is stepping down this year, and he's being replaced by a guy, I guess, who's like a ruthless numbers guy. So he's the former CFO. So I anticipate that Sony Pictures is going to be sold off because there's a lot of pieces of Sony that are not very profitable, and the Pictures is a big part of that. So we'll see.
But here's the thing. I mean, you can get rich in the black real quick, right? If you make the right films and the right franchises.
Mm.
So you think with some better quality control. So what do they have franchise-wise? And then keep in mind they also own Columbia Pictures.
Right.
But, so you got Hellboy, which they're doing a launch of. Men in Black. Oh, God, those movies are bad. Resident Evil is not very good. Underworld is atrocious. There's an Anaconda film series. Bad Boys, Charlie's Angels, The Ghostbusters, Karate Kid. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Sony, come on.
I know, right?
They just they just don't have their S together. It's clearly the problem.
Right.
Oh, supposedly they own the rights to Qbert.
Oh, well, there you go.
Smurfs. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the only other the only other company I could see making a move for it would be Comcast, but I can't imagine Disney's going to let Spider-Man and 400 Spider-Man adjacent characters go. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I think it would drive Disney crazy to say, that have this other company own like a third of stuff that they should have by all rights. So I assume that Disney would buy it, even though that's really the only thing they would be getting from it, But really, the only thing that's really profitable for Sony is the game division. That's it. Everything else is not that profitable at all.
Yeah, man, they don't have a big franchise outside of Spider-Man. Interesting. Too bad. Too bad. So sad. All right, Matt.
All right. What you got for me, Chris?
I don't know. I think we're beating this stuff to death, but not only does Antoine Fuqua have a Scarface remake coming out, or that's what he's working on this year.
Right.
Supposedly he's meeting with the Marvel honchos to do a direct a Marvel property.
Oh my God. Okay.
So which film, what property, what IP would you let Fuqua do? Maybe a Prowler, but that's Sony. That's Spider-Man.
Which one's Prowler again?
He's the blue with the blue mask. He's the thief, and he's got the claws, and he's got the cape and green and stuff.
Okay, so Marvel has gotten down to doing what, 3 films a year, 3 to 4 tops. They're not going to release somebody who's like just unbelievably bad, or just. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy was a gamble that paid off.
Could you imagine if Fuqua took over Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh. That's a scary thought because suddenly they need somebody to take over Guardians of the Galaxy.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if Chris Pratt is putting in a good word for Antoine Fuqua because of Magnificent Seven?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, it's clear. You know what? It's clear as day now. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. So it's on a new property. They're just looking for him to come in to do replace James Gunn.
Wow. I would. Wow. Wow. I wonder what Bautista does, right? Because he's threatened to walk if they don't use Gunn's script. He goes, I don't care what happens. I'm not doing that movie.
Right.
And though I have read that supposedly Marvel is pushing Disney to rehire James Gunn.
Are they?
So we'll see if they do it. But could you imagine if Fuqua did Guardians 3? Dear Lord.
That would be
absolutely
atrocious.
I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but
he's not a good filmmaker.
No.
I think we can just say, without getting personal, that he is just not a good filmmaker, and he sucks as far as that goes.
Yeah, no. Man, I don't even want to talk about. I'm afraid if we talk any more about it, we're going to curse it. We're
going to jinx it. That's what they're doing right now.
Build it into existence.
I mean, I would hope he would knows better. He hasn't steered us wrong so far, and I would hope he would know better.
And you know what? They're just having a meeting.
They're just having a meeting.
So maybe they're doing it on behalf of their boy Pratt, as a
favor, as an olive branch for getting rid of Gunn.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe he's gonna do. I'm trying to think. I know exactly who Marvel or Fuqua could do. I'm trying to think of his.
I think he could do a Ghost Rider.
Oh, he could, yeah. I guess that could work. That's
not the first rated R MCU proper film, right?
Yeah.
That's how you have to do it too.
You
gotta go all in on Ghost Rider.
You think they'd let him do a Moon Knight comic or
a
Moon Knight movie?
I wouldn't mind seeing a Moon Knight movie.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a movie.
Antoine Fuqua's Moon Knight movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically just Batman in white.
I know. Well, he's also insane. That's the other thing. He's crazy.
Yeah. Hawkeye movie? That I could see.
Maybe. Poor Renner. He can't catch a break.
And they're supposedly want to do a Black Widow film, but they're doing a female director with that, I believe.
Oh, yeah,
right?
they are. Yeah, they are.
All right. So it's going to be either Guardians 3, Ghost Rider, or Moon Knight, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right.
Rocket Racer.
I think you might be on the something with Moon Knight. We'll see. All right. That's it. That's what I got.
Ooh, Night Thrasher. There it is. That's the one.
You know what? That would make sense.
Yeah.
He likes his gritty street kind of, vigilante films, obviously.
That's right. He's absolutely ridiculous, too, because doesn't Night Thrasher ride around on a skateboard or something?
I think he did, yeah.
Night Thrasher, oh my God.
You could team up with the Rocket Racer.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah, with a jet-powered skateboard, too, yeah.
Yeah, comics are so stupid.
Maybe he's doing the Speedball movie. It's going to be the new Warriors proper there.
Maybe it is. Wow. Yep, that's what it is. I'm calling it. If it's not, it's Night Thrasher for sure.
All right.
Totally
you say Night Thrasher. I'm gonna stick with Moon Knight.
All right.
All right. And if it's Guardians 3, then
the show's over.
Maybe I'll walk out of a film finally. We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
All right. You got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Fun. So it's going to be the big show for this week. Next week, Matt, we got a couple things coming up. First, there's The Meg, the film that I think Jason Statham's entire career has been building up to when he fistfights with a megalodon shark.
I hope he has to get cranked up first, like he has to chew on a car battery before he leaps in after the
The Meg. I'm going to go see The Meg.
Okay.
You don't have to see it because the film you have to see is the one I saw this past week, which is The Black Klansman.
Right.
So you should check that one out. If you can do The Meg, that's fine. Just let me know, and we'll just figure something out.
Okay.
In the interim, you can listen to the old shows. Go to thefirstrun.com. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Twitter. Or also on, I should say, listen. Well, you can listen to us on Stitcher and tune in as well. And find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the YouTubes. Just do a search, scroll. You will eventually find us. Why don't you give us a review on Apple Podcasts? 3.5 stars or better, please. Maybe even 4. I will read it on the air. I do promise you, even if it's a 1. I have no shame. So that's going to be the big show for this week. And we'll see you all soon. Take care.
See, you just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret.
Dude, come on. I think you're overreacting a little bit.
You must be so embarrassed. Do me.